Good morning. This is Glade, and it's March 30th, and I'm out today just checking hives. It's been not quite 2 weeks since I was out here and went through all my hives. They were all looking pretty good. Liking what I'm seeing so far, but I am hearing a little bit of rumors that there's some swarms going around. So today's goal is to just get into these hives, make sure that they're not thinking about swarming, and if they are, then I'm going to have to pull some splits out. Don't really want to do that right the moment. I've got queens coming, hopefully, but they're not going to be here for another week, maybe 10 days or something. And I'm not sure these hives can wait quite that long. So I'm going to check them today and make sure that they're not in swarm mode. If they are and they've got swarm cells, then I'll probably, I think I'll probably pull the queen out and drop her in a nuke, and then just use that nuke as a resource hive. And if the cells don't make it, then I'll have that queen. I can just drop her right back into the hive, and we'll be good to go. If they're not swarming, but they're starting to fill up, then what I'm going to do is open up the brood nest. I'm going to make sure that there's plenty of space down in the brood nest area for the queen to lay, and space above the brood nest. In my case, since I run all mediums, in that top third medium, I want there to be plenty of space for incoming nectar. Things are blooming out here. We have the Bradford pears blooming, apricots are blooming, the flowering crabs are blooming, and things are blooming out here, but we're about 3 weeks ahead of schedule, ahead of normal, whatever that is anymore. But so I think I'd better just kind of keep an eye on these hives and make sure they're not wanting to swarm. That's the goal for the day, is just hopefully keep the bees in the box. Okay, let's get into this first hive and see what they're doing. This queen has eluded me from a couple of times from getting marked, so today's goal is also to get this queen marked. Okay, there's plenty of bees in this box. I think they'll probably get another box added to them. Just to keep them from wanting to swarm. I'm going to clean some of this bird comb up. Just to make it easier. I can see drone brood down in here. I can see brood down in here. So I think this hive's ready for another box. Okay, that's all full of honey and incoming nectar. Brood, and look what we got here. A capped queen cell. That's not quite what I wanted to see yet. Look what I've got here. 1, 2, 3. 3 more queen cells. Yep. So these gals think they want to swarm. And here's a little runty one over here. Well, there's another one. Alright, so these gals really think they want to swarm. So let's see if we can find the queen. I think I've probably caught them before they've swarmed, but just based on how many bees are in the box. Not quite what I wanted to see. But I guess not too surprising. Here's another swarm cell down here in the corner. Right here. Here's another Another swarm cell, queen cell in the corner here. Maybe these ladies have swarmed. I'm not seeing any eggs down the bottom of those cells. Another one down here. I suppose I could make several splits out of this. I cannot find this queen. Probably a dark one. Those dark ones are hard to see. Yeah, that's another queen cell right there. Well, maybe she's already swarmed. Certainly not finding her. Okay, there's one good swarm cell. I think I'll leave it. What I'm not seeing is any eggs and larvae, so I'm beginning to wonder if this hive's already swarmed. Alright, I've been through both of these boxes with a fine-tooth comb. There is no queen. And there is no eggs and larvae, which tells me that these gals something happened with the queen about 9 days ago, which is about the time I was in the hive. So I'm kind of thinking I may have done something to the queen, and the queen cells that I'm seeing aren't really swarm cells, they're emergency cells. And they're wanting to requeen on their own. Needing to requeen because the queen's not here. What I am going to do is give them another box though. Once that queen emerges and mates and comes back, she's going to need some room. As you can see, I've got a good population of bees still. I think they're just queenless. Alright, well, that wasn't quite what I wanted to see, but that hive is queenless right at the moment. And it's probably my fault. I don't think there's anything really going on in this top box that I need to look at. Honey stores up here. Yep. Let's just kind of make sure there's all honey up here. Nope, not all honey up here. A brood up here. Okay. That tells me there's not tons of room here. I think what I'll do, though, is this top box is pretty full. There's not really much space here. So I think I'm going to lift it off and see what the next two boxes look like. What I'm looking for is open space for the queen to lay. Because if she doesn't have space to lay, then they start wanting to swarm. And there's really not much space in the top box. And the bottom box this box is looking the same way. Oh, beautiful cap brood. Those are drone cells. This is all drone and larvae and brood, and this is all full larvae and pollen and nectar, and it's starting to get kind of mixed in there together. That tells me queen's running out of space. Same on this side. I've got larvae, and then I've got pollen dabbed around in here. Okay, so this queen needs some space. Same here. This is all full up. Same on this side. So Really not seeing any empty cells for her to lay in. She's already laid those up. She's already laid these up. So she's laying right back in the cells just as soon as the bees emerge, which is a good queen, but she just doesn't have a lot of space to lay. So what I need to do is open this brood nest up, give her some more space. My guess is this box, bottom box, is similar. Mostly full of pollen. I'm gonna have to sit it right there for a second. Let's see if there's some open space down here. That's all pollen. Again, all pollen. Wow. I think I'm going to be pulling out a frame of pollen here. We've got gobs of pollen. Mostly pollen, a little bit of brood. A little bit of brood there. Mostly pollen. Good brood there. No empty space for this queen to lay. None. So she needs empty room to lay. Okay, I'm not seeing any swarm cells, but there's no space for this queen to lay. So I need to open up the brood nest. And foundation frames don't do it. They need empty drawn comb. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out a few frames of resources and replace them with empties. Empty drawn comb. So there's 2 empties. This box is going to go back on. And I need to pull probably a couple of frames out of here. That one's probably a good one to pull. So pollen. Pull that one. All pollen and nectar. It's got a little bit of space on it. Let's pull that frame. I'm going to pull this honey frame on the outside. Got tons of honey space up, or tons of honey upstairs. Okay, now what do we got left here? That's got brood on it. I'm going to do one there. A couple right here in the middle. Oh, I still got to take one frame out. I got to get a feeder back in there. And so what I've done is I've given them three frames in this box and 2 frames in the bottom box of drawn comb. And I wouldn't mind even giving them some more space up here in the top box, because it's pretty full. So let's pull out some of this, give them some space up here. That's not a bad frame for them to keep. It's probably the only empty frame in the box. I really opened up this brood area for the queen to lay in. I'm pulling out 9 frames of full, mostly just honey and pollen, no brood. But now I give them 9 empty frames, and that'll give that queen space to lay, make the bees feel like they've still got room, and hopefully that'll keep them in the box for a little bit. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what I'm doing today. The queen's laid a little bit down here in the bottom box, most of the brood's here in this box, and some brood up here in this top box. So what I've done is I've removed 9 frames, a couple of frames down here in the bottom, I think 3 frames here and 4 frames up top to open up this brood nest area and let that queen lay. She was pretty much out of room to lay, and when that happens, that's when swarming wants to kick in. What the bees like to do is, as they bring in incoming nectar, typically they're going to store it up top, and it's going to slowly push that queen back down, and even over time that brood nest starts to shrink because they've got too much resources stored above and around that brood area. And when that happens, that's really the first sign of swarming. And if you can open this brood nest area back up, give them extra space, give the queen extra space to lay, then they don't feel like they're too crowded and they feel like they need to fill things up a little bit before they swarm. So that's the goal here. Open up this brood area, give the queen a place to lay, and hopefully these bees decide not to swarm. So that's the goal for the day. Bees are still looking pretty good, so we're just gonna keep going through these and kind of make sure they've got plenty of room in this brood area for the queen to lay in, and that's all we're doing. Well, I've gotten through this yard and checked all these hives, and none of them have swarm cells, which is a good thing, but several of them are running out of space, so they need some extra space, room for the queen to lay. So what I basically did was pulled out full frames of honey and replaced them with empty drawn comb. Most of them got 3, 4, 5, 6 frames of empty drawn comb and pulled out 6 frames of honey. I left them plenty of honey, so that's not a problem, but now that queen's got plenty of room to lay, hopefully that keeps her from wanting to swarm over the next couple of weeks here, and that should buy me a little bit of time until I get my queens here, and then I can start pulling some splits off of these hives and knock them back just a little bit. That'll be enough. I think I can keep them from swarming at that point. I think I'm going to be okay, at least at this point. I'm seeing plenty of drones in the boxes, but let me rephrase that. I'm seeing plenty of capped drone brood in the boxes, but not a ton of drones yet. Some, but not the kind of drone population that I'd like to see for mating. So this one hive that's trying to raise a queen and is going to have to mate, I'm hoping the commercial beekeeper that's in the area will have his bees scattered about, and that there'll be enough drones around. If not, then I'll just use one of these queens I've got coming and drop it in that hive. But that's what I'm doing. I'll go check the other couple of yards, and hopefully they're in the same condition. But hope your bees are doing well. Hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching.